Welcome to What's Cooking with the Cookware and Bakeware Alliance. The CBA supplies the industry with standards, connections, and solutions. This podcast features stories from our members and partners. Our goal is to share resources and information across the industry for consumers, retailers, manufacturers, and more. To learn more about becoming a member of the CBA, visit cookwareandbakeware.org.
Welcome to What's Cooking with the CBA. Our podcast series, What's Cooking with the CBA, has a special feature called Stronger Together. This special series celebrates our members, their contributions to the industry, the community, and always dedicated to creating safer consumer products. Our members are industry leaders, and I'm so happy to be joined by Bill and Nancy McHenry today of Widgeteer. Widgeteer is one of our new members, joining us in 2022 and already engaged and active in the Alliance. It's a pleasure to have you both here today, and welcome.
Thanks, Fran. I really appreciate the opportunity. We really appreciate the opportunity to join you. It's nice to say we instead of I now. It used to be just I. I'm still maybe getting used to it.
Tell me a little bit about that, how you and Nancy, how you started, your background, and how this all came together.
Sure. Well, I started in corporate America. I was actually in sales and marketing with Carnation Company, which is now Nestle, and 3M and Philips. So I've always been in sales and marketing. I started Widgeteer in 2008. I actually had a partner, and I'd like to mention Ron Sargent because he just unfortunately passed away. And really sad, but he started the company with me. He always used to say he was, in his first business, he was number one in the number two business. He actually started Thetford, which is the largest he actually has the trademark and patent to a porta potty. So every boat and RV that has a toilet, you can thank my partner at Widgeteer.
Wow.
So I always, I like to say, they used to say they were number one in the number two business.
I love that. I love that.
I tell people that because we sell cookware and bakeware, that we've gone from one end to the other.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And my team gets kind of tired of me saying that, but I like to say it anyway. So I got tired of corporate America. I've always been entrepreneurial, and at the time, and still have, a very supportive wife who was with Marriott at the time and had an amazing job. Her career was launching, and I told her that I really wanted to start my own business, and we were going to live off her for a while. Lasted a little longer than I think she wanted to, but I guess we're still married, so it works fine. So I started the company. What was really cool is that's when I met you, actually, was I started the company with bakeware, or rather cookware. We were selling a Spanish line, very high-end cookware. I still wish we could sell it. I still use it today. It was just a little too high-end for us, unfortunately, in America. An amazing brand, an amazing product, but that's where I got my roots. And I love to cook, so we're actually going to launch, and we'll talk about it a little later, I know, but we're going to launch a new brand called Gene Fitz that's going to have high-end bakeware in it. The Gene Fitz brand is actually named after my mom, who was an amazing cook, and she loved to entertain, and you'll see that's kind of what we're all about. One of our purposes, we always say, is we're here to create joyful moments, and that's what we do at Widgeteer. So we sell a lot of different retailers around the country, from Williams-Sonoma to Macy's to independent retailers. We have a very broad selection of products, not only bakeware and cookware, but our bakeware and cookware do very well as well.
And Nancy, I love that you smiled when he said what he came and told you all those years ago. So now
I poked her.
It's over from your career in hospitality to now being part of Widgeteer.
Oh, sure. Well, I was actually with Marriott for 37 years, and all in sales and marketing and operations. And in 2020, when COVID happened, actually that really hurt the hospitality industry greatly. So it gave me a great opportunity to retire and join Bill in Widgeteer. It was on Friday I retired, and on Saturday I had a computer set up by our son James, so I could start working for Widgeteer. So my retirement lasted, I think, 12.2 hours. And, so there's a lot of similarities, though, between hospitality and having your own business and being in cookware and bakeware and other items for the kitchen. Is it's all about service. and it's all about taking care of the customer. And that's one of our core values, is our ability to take care of our customers and our logistics capabilities as well. So taking all of those skills that I had at Marriott, they're very transferable over to Widgeteer. And so it's really, at the beginning was very scary, I have to say. There's a lot I don't know still, but I think do know how to take care of our customers and our associates, which is, what I learned at a wonderful hospitality company. So it's been fun. It's been really a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot. I'm now in charge of bringing our containers in and working with the different factories across the globe. That gets me up very early in the morning. So I'm getting answers at about 3:00 in the morning. So sometimes I do get up to make sure I can get back to our counterparts across the world. So it's really been fun, and I'm enjoying it, and we're enjoying actually working together. I always said I would never work with my husband. So I've learned the word never is very strong, and don't use it, because inevitably you're going to eat your words.
I love that. I love the fit, though, of hospitality. And you always hear these great stories of unique, especially in family-owned businesses, unique things that come together. And you're so right. And especially today, in a post-COVID world, although I don't know if we'll ever really be post-COVID, service and connection is what it's all about. The product is great. And Bill, you're right. You've made great products since day one. But what Nancy brings in that service and the ability to react, because she has that background, it's tremendous right now. Now, you mentioned your son, James, who I had the pleasure of meeting at the chess meeting in October in Chicago. Tell me a little bit about, and you've touched on working with your husband and never say never. How is it working in a family-owned business, especially in the housewares industry and the size of our industry? And how many years are we talking now? It's a long time. You've been growing and succeeding. So how is it having a family-owned business in this?
It's nerve-wracking. It's not for the faint of heart, I'll be honest with you. There's days that I wish I had more money, then there's days, I think the biggest challenge for us is separating, the wife, husband, son thing out of it, because like with James, I'm his boss, I'm his mentor. He always has looked up to me as a mentor. So I'm his boss, I'm his mentor, and I'm his dad. And I think that's hard for him. And so I told him he couldn't. He was in hospitality too. He worked for Marriott and Fairmont. In fact, our team, I think there's four of them that are we're in hospitality. But anyway, so as a family business, I think that's very difficult, because you got to kind of draw the line. There's times when I have to be kind of hard on him, pushing him more. I've actually had to slow him down a little bit sometimes too, and I do that as a dad. So, and I think it's been a challenge for him. I actually have several friends that had their own family businesses. So I had him go talk to them and see what it was like, both talk to the dad and to the sons in these family businesses, to see what it was like to work together. I also made sure that he was 30 before he joined us. I didn't want him to come into the business and not have something to fall back on should something happen. And it's been interesting. And with Nancy, it's been interesting too, because when she first started, she'd wake up and, I have a question for you. And this is like, 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, could you wait until at least 6?
Like her.
Yeah. So it's been interesting. The other part with Nancy, she sells herself short on her career with Marriott. She actually was very high level executive at Marriott. She was responsible for over $2 billion in revenue with them. So very high level. And it's been harder because she now, I probably report to her, but I won't admit to that to anybody. And I think that's been a kind of a switch too, because she always was the go-to person, and now I am. And I think that's been a little bit of a challenge. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I think if I could sum it up, it comes down to respect, appreciating differences, and communication, because we do have different roles as family members, but then also as business partners. And so one of the things we did actually for our whole team is we conducted a training around, it's called Strength Finders. And it's what are your strengths and how do you use those strengths, and what are your weaknesses? everybody then knew people's strengths and areas that they were never going to be, great at. So it really made the whole team appreciate differences as well as perspective. There's always perspectives, and if everybody says yes, you don't need everybody. So it's good to have point counterpoint, and it's good to have a perspective. And so in setting up that training, it really helped all of us as a team, as well as the three of us as family members too. Because then I'll go back from a language standpoint and say, well, remember, this person's strength is relationships. So don't expect a strategy from them. You're not going to get it. It's not that they just don't have that in their DNA. So that's really helped try and create a greater understanding. And I used to do a lot of that in Marriott I was a trainer as well. I think that helps a lot. And it helps us as a family too. It's like, remember, that's not my strength, or this isn't your strength. So that's helped a lot in trying to create a level playing field, if you will. And then James being, of course, younger than us, we appreciate what he brings in pushing us on doing things that, maybe we didn't really see the value in. And so we have to pause as then a parent and say, okay, we have to be open to these new ideas. I'll give you an example. FAIR is one of our really good customers. And, James really pushed Bill at the time to become part of FAIR. And it's a great customer of ours now. And
the only reason I did it was because I thought he was wrong. And I said, well, it's not going to cost us anything. You'll find out you're not right. I even admit to that now.
So what's nice is James' wife loves our products. And, she's our demographic too, that we're looking for. So she's involved too on, hey, do you like this or do you not like this? Try it, let us know. So she's really, become a part of the company, if you will, as well as trying the product. So it's working out well. Yeah. I mean, we definitely have our moments. I'd be,
I'm sure
lying if I didn't say that, but we work through it all. And it comes down to communication, really, And
that's amazing. I love this idea of the strength exercise. It so plays to where the world is now. Instead of knocking people down and pointing out what they can't do, you're elevating and you're maximizing your team's abilities because the go-to people now. Instead of constantly saying you need to do this better, you're saying, hey, they do this best. Let's use those resources. Absolutely brilliant. Might need you to come speak at the CBA next meeting.
Well, it's about Soar with Your Strengths. That's a book that I read years ago. And the first paragraph talks about you should never ask a bird to slither through the grass like a snake, and you can't ask a snake to fly. And it's all about, finding the best in people, because people perform better as well when you acknowledge their strengths and help them just manage their weaknesses. You can get a lot more out of people, and it's more fun to work that way.
So. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely.
I do a 30-minute wrap with everybody on our team every month. And it's all about them. When we schedule it, sometimes we have to move it a little bit, but we have this 30 minutes where we just talk about them. And I give them some input. But for the most part, they give me input, and we talk about their jobs and what they're doing and what they want to do in the future. And my goal, I've always believed family first, but I've also believed everybody needs to have fun. And it's really worked well. We have an amazing team. In fact, we're missing our Friday morning stand-up for this call. And in the stand-up, we talk about a success for the week. Everyone says it in front of everybody. And then James is actually today going to talk about the new Pantone colors. And we thought that would be kind of fun. And then we have a question of the day. And today's question was, what was your first record? And, and so everyone will talk about that. And I already told them what mine was. I was trying to impress a girl, and I bought this Steely Dan record. It was by Asia. And then I decided records weren't the way to go. 8-tracks were the way to go. So Kristen, who comes up with the question, will tell everybody that, and everyone will laugh and have fun, and then it'll go to the next. And we do it every Friday morning.
It's so important that it sounds like you're building your own Widgeteer family. everybody feels recognized and important. And it sounds like they're just as much a part of your family as James is, and feel recognized. I mean, that's the power behind a brand and behind a company, is the people, right? And I love what you said before, you're here to create joyful moments. It sounds like you're doing it for your own employees to start, so you live it. And one of those joyful moments, I have to say, I loved this when we were talking last year about you guys joining the Jean Fitz brand. You have to tell more about this. That is pure family. That is pure love, pure joy. If people could see right now the way you guys light up when you talk about it, it's just gonna, it's gonna be part of the product and the brand.
Well, yeah, it really has been fun. But going back to James, is actually the one that convinced me. I was not for this at first. And I don't really know why, but I wasn't. And he said, "Dad, this is great. Grandma Jean, as he called her, was just an amazing cook. She loved to entertain." And so I'm like, okay. So we had the Jean Fitz. We use her signature, Jean Fitzpatrick. Actually, it was McHenry, but that's neither here nor there. And we use the JF logo and stuff. And we've launched. We're going to have bakeware. We're going to eventually have cookware. We'll have glassware and a whole assortment of entertaining products too, woodware and so on. It's really been fun to do, and it's a neat story. I think everyone on the team really likes it, and we're being more creative with all this too. And our bakeware is really higher end. I'll let Nancy talk about it a little more, but bakeware is very high end, and it really answers the PFAS challenge we have with it too. So.
Yeah, the bakeware that we're looking at is actually produced in Italy, and of course at the meeting that we had in Chicago, the PFAS free as we know an industry issue globally. So this line intentionally does not contain PFAS or the subgroups. What's fun about it too is it's a great color, really new, fun color. And the factory uses X-carb steel in the factory in Italy. And so there's also a 55% reduction in environmental impact because of the way they use the steel and the process to actually create, the bakeware. So we'll be introducing that at the Houseware Show in March to get customer feedback and introduce it to the market. So we're very excited about that, and that'll be under our Jean Fitz brand. Back to the Jean Fitz piece. Jean was a huge entertainer. She came from a big family, so people always waited for her to arrive because what she cooked was so amazing, and she's so fun, and loved her Crown Royal. And a waiter here, she was 80 years old, and a waiter would say, "Well, first of all, they'd be shocked she wanted a Crown Royal." And they'd say, what do you want the mix in it? And she would always say, "Oh, well, why mess up a good drink?" So she would just drink it straight.
I like her.
Yeah. So it to your point, the joyful moments really fit with naming the brand after, and she was a lovely woman. So we're excited. We're excited about it.
And then we also have our Tonyana brand. We have cookware and bakeware in our Tonyana brand too.
Yeah, and with Tonyana, we have the Wood and Stone, which is a non-stick cookware, which works great, and I use it every day. And then their bakeware is called Pure Rock, and that's non-stick as well, and that's done really well. So that's been a great brand for us as well. And so we're just continuing to add to our cookware and our bakeware lines with the Jean Fitz.
That's incredible. It's incredible. You can feel the energy of it, and it fits so well. I love when you said that James calls her Grandma Jean, and you can almost feel that building in its own. You could see people on social starting to call her Grandma Jean, it's all about connection. We'll keep going back to that forever now since what we've been through. Now, Bill, you touched on that. We met years ago on the aisles of the IHA show, and I consider many of the people, the industry is like its own family, right? And walking those aisles, you can't wait to get there to see old friends. last year going back for the first time was incredible. Talk a little bit about what Widgeteer and what you guys have brought to the industry.
Well, I've been very involved with the industry. When I first joined the IHA, the International Housewares Association, I got involved right away with it. And what I've enjoyed is, like the core groups that we meet once a quarter. I actually send James to Dallas, and I go to the Chicago one. And we go to chess every year. I've been in a lot of different committees within the association. And what I've also really enjoyed is, well, the people, obviously, but they often will come to me to ask me to talk to new potential exhibitors at the show, which I really enjoy. Because we work the show. You'll see in our booth this year, like every year, there'll be 7 or I guess 6 of us that'll be at the show. There's 4 chairs, but no one sits. I won't let anybody sit. They need to work the show and have fun, and so I'm very involved that way. And I love mentoring people. We can get into some more of that too, but I really have enjoyed doing that and just being more and more active. I think being part of this organization, the Cookware and Bakeware Alliance, is going to be really good for Widgeteer too, but I think we can also offer a lot back to the Alliance because of what I've learned over the years. And you nailed it, Fran. It's really the people. I've never really met anybody in this industry that I thought was a jerk. I met some people that I'm like, well, we might not be that good, but for the most part, I could call just about any president of any company and ask them a question. They're all very helpful, even to the point of giving me buyer names and phone numbers. And I've learned about different vendors to work with and not to work with. And it's a real tight-knit community of just really nice people. It's really been fun. I know last year, because we didn't have the show in 2020, I can't remember if it was Nancy or James, but they commented to me, Dad, you have all these people coming up and hugging you. And I go, I know, but you don't just shake hands with people. You really looking forward to seeing people.
It's like Old Home Week when you go, I can't wait. And this year, for the first time, the CBA will have a booth.
Oh, great.
It will give an opportunity for members to meet. And something you just touched on, I can't say enough about this alliance, how you can call on anybody and the support. And it's one of the reasons I get really passionate. You touched on the PFAS issue and what we're facing as an industry. I get really passionate about it because there's an underlying assumption with those laws and with what's going around, almost putting us as a negative group, and we are far from it. If people only knew how long it takes to make a product, how much testing, all the time just to write the care and use documents, and then all of this support and internal helping each other. I watch it all the time when we're at meetings or we're at, Nancy, when you came to the Chicago meeting, I think you had joined 2 days before, and everybody was just like, come on in. We don't whether you're there for the last 50 years or you're there for the last 5 minutes, it's all about togetherness. And I'm going to come back to the Alliance in a second, but I'd like to talk about, I noticed when we were talking about setting up this podcast, there are things, Bill, that you do with your alumni, with your college and in the community. Can you both talk a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, I'm very active with my alma mater, which is called Alma College. I was actually president of the Alumni Association and helped develop a thing called the Ambassador Program, which got alumni more involved with the school. We also are participating in the new building of the Learning Commons, which has been fun to watch and see come together. And then we mentor a lot of people. I try to hire an intern from there every year. We'll talk about our intern this year who didn't come from Alma, but we do a lot of mentoring. And then within our community, I'm on the National Board of a Gift of Adoption. I've always been proud to say I was adopted at birth. So I never knew my birth parents, never even really thought about it, other than the fact I'm adopted and I had a great mom and dad. So I'm on that National Board of a Gift of Adoption is what it's called. I'm very active in Rotary in Crystal Lake. I'm also on the board of CASA for McHenry County, and CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. What happens when a child is pulled from their home when there's a problem with things going on in the home. They're put into a foster home, and the court has to appoint them a CASA, court-appointed special advocate, to be the advocate for that child while they go through all the other stuff, whether or not the child should be kept out of the home and moved to a foster home or put back into the home. Very sad stories, but kind of cool stories at the end because the child is being taken care of. So that's been fun. We are involved with 4R Scholars. It's FOUR, like 4 in golf, but it's helping caddies within our club go to college. And we've got a big fund that we send kids to college. In fact, my main caddy, his sister's going to Ohio State on a full ride, even though I don't like Ohio State. But, it would have been better if it was U of M. But anyway, but a full ride in engineering as a result of that, and it was cool. And she wouldn't have been able to go to college if it wasn't for something like that. So we're really involved with that. And I'll let Nancy talk about what she's doing, and then also Julia.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'm a member of a group of 42 women. It's called the Service League of Crystal Lake. And we raise money for outreach for families that are in need or may have a crisis that arises. For example, somebody had a fire in their house, and so we provided housing for them. Another woman couldn't make ends meet. She had a couple children, so we paid her electric bill. But then we also raise money for scholarships as well. So we have 15 scholarships that we give every year to students in the local community. So it's an organization that it's been around for over 40 years. And, we put great events together. So my hospitality background worked excellent in that. And so we create fun events and raise, quite a bit of money doing that. But from a community standpoint too, we have 10 employees. So we've given people, great opportunity to, have a career and also, feed their families. But a really cool story is our intern this year. She actually is a friend of ours' daughter who, we've known her since her mom was pregnant with her. And anyway, she's worked for us this summer, and she is in supply chain. And she wanted to go to grad school. And for all the work she did with us this summer with learning how a forwarder works, she met with our forwarder. We had her at the warehouse to understand how 3PL works, how dropship programs work, versus shipping out pallets. She was able to get into grad school because she actually had quote unquote experience because of everything she learned with working with us for the summer. So we look at that too as a great, community effort. We're very proud of her that, and proud of ourselves too, that we're able to help her get into grad school. So through her hard work, but she knows how to do all the merchandising on all these sites that drive us crazy. And, understood, how you get this glass to market is very, takes a lot of work. So that was really cool.
It was she's really a sharp cookie too. I really like her. She's full of energy, it's really neat to see.
And she's still working for us too. So she's going to grad school and she stayed on with us. So that's a cool story too. Yeah. So we're, always looking at, how can we help people, and Bill's always buying groceries for people too. So if you ever want free groceries, just get in front of Bill and Jewel.
Yeah, but it's got to be a small amount and it's got to be older.
Pay it forward. I love all of this because something popped in my head a long time ago. My father said to me, success is being important in the life of a child. And so much of what you've talked about, whether it's one of the main organizations or this lovely young woman that you helped get to grad school, that's what it's really all about. And you even said before your value was family first. And that's refreshing. I have the same value in what I do. And it's so funny when you tell a new employee that, the look on their face.
Yeah, they don't believe it.
You're like, wait, is that real? Is that really happening?
But we had an example of that as one of our employees, both of her boys were sick and she had to stay home. And, her mom said, well, what about your job? And she's like, well, Mom, I work for Widgeteer. It's family first. It'll be fine. Yeah. That was really cool.
Yeah.
That's a
good. The girl, she was having a real tough time with her kids. She said, I was so upset. I called my mom and I had to call Bill.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Well, this is just it's such a great, the whole story is just so inspiring. I
Thank you.
loved meeting you, Nancy, recently. I feel like now we're just part of the family growing together. I'd love to wrap up with this. The Alliance is new in itself. While the association has been here 100 years, what the CBA is doing, we're trying to honor that history and amplify the message of what we do in the industry. So if you could, since you're one of our new members, tell us what you see as the value of being involved in industry associations.
Absolutely. I have, I think, a great example of, I was in one meeting so far in Chicago, and I sat in between two people. And I apologize, I don't remember their names, but on the left side of me was an engineer, and on the right side of me was a gal responsible for marketing. Well, the gentleman on my left, I started talking about a product we were looking at, and we were concerned about the temperature capabilities of the product. And sitting with an engineer, he started asking me questions and mentioning things that I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that about from an engineering standpoint. And actually came back, chatted with Bill about it, and we actually changed directions based on that one conversation that I had with an engineer, which I thought was amazing. So we tested what he said, and
He was right.
and he was right. So anyway, we threw that pan away and moved on. And then the gal next to me, we had a challenge last year. Unfortunately, there's a lot of vultures out there that like to sue you because your website isn't ADA compliant for, was it hearing impaired?
It was for hearing.
Hearing
You can't
impaired,
hear in
and
one
Bill
ear.
can't hear in one ear. And so she introduced me to the company that she worked with to make sure that our website was ADA compliant. So, the vultures can't come after us again for something that was, you can tell I'm very passionate about how wrong that was.
There's another way
So,
to do it. There's another way to do it, to come and notify you first and give
Right.
you an opportunity. There are a lot of people that actually, just off the side here on websites for a second, a lot of people don't know about ADA compliance as a law. They've heard of it, and to make your site friendly to that, but I always find that that's like the legislations we're going to face in our industry of PFAS. We hope that the vultures go away and that it's done in
I shouldn't say it that way, but
No.
anyway, so I think that was one example of just and the podcast, about PFAS and your constant keeping us informed, and then the website with the quarterly to get updates on the new colors, because colors are so important, and what are the trends, because we want to be, as Wayne Gretzky's dad said, skate to where the puck is going to be. That's where we want to be. And the only way to know that is to get that intelligence, and you provide that. So by providing, we don't have time or the resources to go out and do customer research and data research, and the reports that you put together quarterly have really been valuable too. So those are three things that happen in one meeting. So it was great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, this has been an incredible journey. What a great way to start the day. And I thank you both for being here, and just have a wonderful day. And I'm looking forward to a great year with you both.
You too.
Thanks, Fran. Really appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Happy New Year.
Same here.
Happy New Year, Fran. Thank you.
You've been listening to What's Cooking with the Cookware and Bakeware Alliance. For more resources about the cookware and bakeware industry and information about becoming a member, visit our website, cookwareandbakeware.org.